sir.
Okay.
What? Oh. She did it all by herself. So do you know what you did?
And Bill did one earlier.
I didn't know what I did either.
What does that mean? Oh, he's already filled his up.
Oh, I filled mine back up. Ready to try it again.
Saint Amour, and our first officer is Ed Kelly, and I am Patty, your flight attendant. Nice to see all of you this afternoon. From Washington, D.C. to New York City, our flying time is 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Has two engines. Go stand in front of it so you can see. And I couldn't get it.
We're gonna go.
Look at that church. Oh.
Steps to get them. Chuck said no.
Okay.
Chuck's outside, I think.
9. We got 1 to go yet. Yeah, let's do the tour first, and then we'll do coffee and lunch. You coming. This is a great experience for us to get to know all of you, and we really appreciate the time that you've all taken from your busy schedules. And I know that, you know, for some of you this is probably the only vacation that you're going to get this year. So we really appreciate you taking the time to come and share that time with BLF and to put that time to the work for the Lord. I can tell you that by the end of the week, you're going to be plumb tuckered out, but you're going to see that a lot of the things that you have done are going to have a direct impact on the lives of people around this world forever. It's pretty awesome. This building has been here for about 20 years. The ministry has been in the Brussels area for about 40 years. They had an old chateau up near what we call the Atomium, which is a big thing that you'll see on a drive-by shooting one day. You know, you get to drive by, take your shot, and on we go. But that was there for about 20 years, and then they built this building, and if you did a turnaround in the back, you probably saw a huge gondola out back. We just did our celebration 20 years in the building clean out. So we do that every 20 years, whether we need to or not. So it's been pretty exciting. We've been getting a lot of stuff that's just, you know, it's just like in your house and we have translated, it's been translated into Swahili. It's never been in that language before. Our passion is obviously for Christian literature. Our drive is to get materials into Africa. Now we work primarily in the French language in Africa because that's where our expertise is. But where there was a great need for this to be done in Swahili, we have a pastor friend that works from down there that works closely with us, and he said, this is a book my people need. So he translated it into Swahili. We have just finished the printing of the covers and the insides, and so you will be assembling that book, putting I think the signatures are already done on that one. It'll just be a matter of binding it. The next book that you'll work on, we'll do from scratch. It'll be 2.5 signatures and the cover. And then we've got another book that the signatures are already done on, but it is a hardbound book. Whole different process. We don't have the equipment for doing hard binding, but we desperately need to get some of these into inventory. So you're going to learn how to do hard binding the way that they did hard binding back in the olden days. You put the glue on the cover, you wrap it around the cardboard, you put the insides in, and you make a hardbound book. It'll be very laborious, but it's very expensive to have it done on the outside, and that's why hardbound books always cost you more in any language. But we need to get a good quantity of them in stock, and we can't afford to go outside for them right now, so we'll use some of your labor on that. Let's start. Let me make sure I got everything on my... Yep. We'll start today by taking a little tour of the shop. I think you saw the bookstore as you came in. We have books in there both in English and in French, and a little bit in German or Dutch, but mostly English and French in there. We have people that come to this country just to buy books here. You can't just go to a Christian bookstore anywhere in your city and have a choice. Where did you put the light switch on this thing? They moved it on me. We'll go upstairs in a few minutes and see what they do to create this type of thing. But this is a negative of the cover for Maisha. This is the book that you're going to be assembling. Everything that's white on here will be black. Everything that's black on here will be white. They take these after they've come from what we call the flasher. It's not the same as a flasher in America, but it's the person who flashes this image onto the film. When the film comes back, they set this into a matrix. Let's see, there's probably one behind you over here. Maybe just lift that. Nope, he's separating some things out. I'm sorry. Here's one. He would strip these together onto a large sheet. That sheet then goes into the area there with the curtain around it on top of a metal plate. The metal plate is photosynthesized so that whatever is black on here burns away and whatever is clear on here stays. And that becomes the plate that you saw over there. They bring the plate over here, scrub off with some chemicals the part that has been not gelled, and the hard part stays there. That gets washed off. The plate is ready then to go to the entire printing process. This job is fast disappearing. You remember we were talking about up and down and flipping and flopping and all that kind of stuff? The person who does this job is called a stripper. Now, I used to teach desktop publishing in college, and I always say that most of my students were ex-strippers. And the bottom line is their jobs are going away because this is all now being done on the computer. And there's a program that takes all of your pages. You just line them all up in a row and you say, okay, this is going to be a 48-page signature. And it says, okay, 48-page signature. I got it. We'll put 1 here, 2 there, 3 here, flipping to flopping to hooping and hopping, and it all comes, and it comes out in one nice big sheet. Whereas before, the person who was the stripper had to have a pattern for all that and say, okay, this is a 48-page signature. I know page 1 goes here, so 2 goes on the other side, forget it. 3 goes here, 4 goes there upside down, and all that stuff. That's all being done by the computer now. So the art form of stripping is fast disappearing. We're still in transition on that ourselves. So Jim, the fellow that picked up several of you, right now one of his jobs is to be our stripper. So this is what the stripper does. Gets made into a plate, and the plate goes to the press. It's a series of dots laid one on top of each other in these transparent inks, so that when you do a blue dot over a yellow dot, you get green. And take a magnifying glass sometime. It takes a fairly strong one, but something anywhere from 6 to 8 power. 10 is great, but 6 or 8 power. Put it down on a, matter of fact, let's take something that's printed here and you'd be able to see that. Yes, you can look in that as you pass on by, and you'll see that the picture that's on the front of this is not a photo. It's a series of dots all laid on of different colors. So what it does is you take signature 1 and signature 2 and signature 3 and signature 4, and when this machine runs, it reaches up, grabs one, drops it on the belt that's going by. The next station grabs one and drops it on top of it. The next station grabs one and drops it on top of that. So by the time it gets down here, you have a full set that would look like this. Now this is the Maisha book that you're going to be working on. That is a full set of signatures for that book. And I know that this is a full set rather than just being all the same, because when you look at the binding, you'll see that we put a mark on each one so that you can tell at a glance if you've got 2 signatures of one or you're missing one, but you can see the whole set with the diagonal, wrong way, that way, the diagonal stripe on there. So this is a full set. Now once they're accumulated into sets like this, they come into the binding machine. This machine turns round and round. In the first position, we drop a set of signatures, and there's a specific way to drop these in, and you get them against the end so they're all positioned properly. As it comes around to about the 3rd station under there, there is a saw blade for all practical purposes, which saws the ends of all of these folds off, because if you just put glue on here, it wouldn't be gluing those inner pages. So this effectively shears off all that so that the end of every page is exposed. So it goes through that, it comes around to the next position, and there's some hot glue that's put on the bottom of it. Now there's glue on this edge. All those pages have a little glue. Comes around to this side, there's a cover in a feeding mechanism, and it comes up, and the cover comes up, and it'll put around it like this. Comes over here, drops down, and there's a special process that we have you do of pushing on that edge to get it just right. But you now have a whole book. But you got all these rough edges, so the whole book then comes over here to this machine, which you can see 2 out of the 3 knives. These are normally in an up position, and you put a stack of 4 or 5 books in here. The machine takes it in, it goes wonk, and it's all done. Just all 3 of them at the same time, and it trims the top, the bottom, and the right-hand edge off, so you have a total book that's finished. When it goes out, and then it's automatically ejected out the back. 5 books at a time, that much scrap. I'm here to tell you, we'll keep 2 of you busy when we're running this machine, because the scrap is coming out fast and furious, and we got to get it picked up and put into the containers. So this is the 3-knife trimmer. Now, prior to this happening, straighten them out into a big fan out there. They come across, they come into this machine, and this is called a buckle folder. It doesn't fold buckles, it buckles the paper. The paper comes shooting up here, and when it gets to a predetermined stop here, it's coming up like this, and it goes, stop. Well, the back end is still going fast, so the middle has to go someplace, so it buckles. And as it buckles, it comes down through a set of folders here, so now you've just made the first fold. That then travels on these rollers, takes it up to another buckle. Whop, bends it over backwards again, comes out into this one, bends it over backwards again, and it comes out the end then with the 3 folds done. I'm sorry, it goes out the other way. Then they're folded signatures. From there it goes over to the collator. We have a little different operation over here. This is called a stitching machine. I don't think we have any stitching jobs for you folks this time, but basically...
That's hardbound books?
No, this is for thinner things that get a wire stitch in them. You would put, the first person here puts a signature on, it comes to the second person, they put a signature on, comes to the third person, they put a signature on, comes down here, stitch, stitch, and you now have a booklet. We use those mostly for small booklets, but some of our larger books for children and that, where there may be 2 signatures and a cover, those all get stitched. So this is a stitcher. After it comes out of the 3-knife trimmer, we go back underneath this area where we keep stock. There's some shrink wrap machines back there, and we wrap them all, because a printing plant is a dirty plant. You have so much shred from the paper and that, there's a lot of dust here. So we have to shrink wrap things to keep them clean. And so you'll see a lot of the stuff sitting out, but most of that is wrapped to protect it. They then take the books from there, and what we have in the racks over there is mostly finished goods, and they'll go around and pick those orders as the orders come in so that we can ship them out. Let's walk around it's called a guillotine, and you'll understand why when you see it operate. This massive, very sharp blade comes down under hydraulic pressure, just whoop, and it'll cut a lot of paper at one time. It wouldn't even slow down for arms, legs, or bodies. So there's a series of electric eyes on here, and it's almost impossible to get in here without breaking one of the beams on the electric eyes.
But don't try.
Yeah, don't try to beat it. You know, I suppose if you went like this, you might be able to if you were skinny. But the bottom line is it's put on there for very specific safety reasons. There's a back gauge on there that moves back and forward. So you can program the machine so that it moves back and forward. You make one cut, turn it around, make the second cut, it moves automatically. Turn it again, work and turn to make the third cut, turn it again to make the fourth cut, and so on. And the back gauge continues to move back and forth for how you've programmed it to do that. You'll do this before you print to get a common edge for cutting. You do it like the covers. We print sometimes 2 or 4 covers at one time, so you got to chop those apart and get them down to the right size. There's a lot of things, sometimes just cutting sheets in half to do a smaller size paper for a run. So we use the cutter a lot. A couple of people will be using this a great deal. We have a batch of paper that was given to a man who is printing things for Russia, but he only has a press that will take 8.5 by 11. So we're taking this huge amount of paper for him, cutting it down to 8.5 by 11 and reboxing it for him, and then he takes and gets it printed from there. Even things like that we consider to be part of our ministry, because our charter is to evangelize the world through the use of sound Christian literature. It doesn't say in French, it doesn't say for Africa, it says evangelize the world through the use of Christian literature. And so we cooperate with other mission organizations. We do printing for other missions and other organizations that need some Christian work done. We act as their printer because we have the expertise. We've got the people in the office that can do translation work. We can design covers. We can do layout work. We can do all those kinds of things. We know how to do this part very well. So they come to us. They just have maybe a translation in Polish or something like that. And then we'll act as their printer in the process. So we're able to do that for them for far less money than what they would pay to pay a commercial printer. Okay. Jean-Luc, you're on.
Good morning.
This is Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc is in charge of everything from the printing press this way. Jean-Luc's favorite words to Americans is no gut. And this is what I pay him the big bucks for, is to say no gut. Because we want you to work well and obviously to turn out as much as you can. But it's far more important to do a good job and to save the stuff than to waste material. Now don't get torqued out of shape if you make a bad one. It's okay. We recognize that, you know, you folks are not experienced in these areas, and that's okay. We expect to lose a few, even for experienced people. We lose some. You make mistakes, so it's not the end of the world. We just ask that you be careful, but Jean-Luc is going to look carefully at what you do, and it either is good stuff or it's no good. But Jean-Luc speaks some English, but he downstairs you met earlier on. Jim and Nancy normally work in this area over here as finance. Steve, one of the guys that picked you up this morning, sits here and does the order inputs. And he is also our systems man who takes care of the computers. Where did Mary? Oh, Marianne was downstairs. She's normally here. She does our literature sponsorship program and works in the bookstore. The young lady that's sitting down there is Diane Alfonso. Diane is a graphic artist that came to us on a one-year program. And she used to, well, she's on leave of absence from Indiana University in Indianapolis. And next to Nadine, which was over there, is Yvonne Croker. She's the daughter of Bud and Char Croker. She's our main translator and is a degreed linguist. And beyond her is Esther, who is also one of Bud and Char's daughters. Esther is with us as kind of the overall office lady who takes care of everything else. My desk is at the far end there. But it's small and it's cramped, but there's some room to grow here yet. But this is where all of the office work takes place. We get everybody set down, we can say grace.
Do you want to sit down here?
Nope, not since you're already there. It would take moving half of the room. See, they put me there to know how far the table has to be from the edge, because if I can get in there, then most anybody can.
I really said I would never be able to sleep being in Belgium. But I think
You think you're going to be able to do it, eh?
I think so.
sleep too long today. Take a little nap and try to not sleep too long. Because
You won't go to sleep tonight, huh?
everyone wakes up the way it is. Might be peas, eh? Pea Smith. It's different, isn't it?
What's this on the right here?
The flower one.
Okay, this is one of the most. Now, you see
Oh.
all these green here now? They're all flowers of blue, solid blue. Can you imagine what that looks like?
2 weeks ago.
Are there any deer in
No,
here?
I've never seen any. This would be like like a state park.
This is reminds me of Yorktown.
Oh, no horses, huh?
Used to be able to go straight through here. Make you take a detour now. It's not.
What is your favorite place that you've visited?
Been here 2.5 years. This is a very sensitive subject with my wife, right? I haven't been anywhere. Just work. I've been to Brussels maybe 5 times. Amsterdam, her family come over in March as a work team. First time ever for family. And I went with them to Amsterdam. And I've been to Amsterdam once before and I was in the service. And that's been it. Dick said we have to get out.
Brain-le Chateau. Okay, I read.
Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Good. I'm a little lost.
So that's where the house is.
Yes.
Did you say Grand Maison or something?
Grand Maison.
Okay.
Grand Maison.
Grand means big, right? And
Then we
Maison
have
is
the
house.
Grand Petite Maison. So if you walk, come around this way up here. Nice walk.
How come people drive on the right here? I thought Europe was. Is it just England that's backwards?
Just England, maybe Scotland or Ireland, I'm not sure. England for sure. City Hall is right here. That's where you go to get the registration.
Where is it? This?
No, that one right there.
Oh, it's got a new front on it then.
This is the parish where the priest lives. This is the Catholic Church. Now the castle's right behind the Catholic Church. The castle was the home of a man named Horn. He was beheaded in Brussels for his faith in Christ during the Spanish Requisition. He and another man, Gaspic, the castle you go to, both these men were beheaded because of their faith in Christ.
Do you have to stop for pedestrian?
No. If they're walking, yes. If you look back in there, you can see the castle grounds right through the gate. But you can walk down that street, walk behind the castle, all the path, a beautiful path, come out, that entrance where I showed you, and walk back down this way. Supermarket. Catholic school here on the left.
Where do you go to church?
We go to church in Waterloo. It's a Christian, called the Christian Center. You will be going to two different kind of French-speaking churches. One a more stately one, and one a more contemporary.
Is another team coming the following week? After us? Or do you separate them like every other week?
Usually it's once a month.
Oh, once a month, okay.
Well, enjoy your rest. Hey, welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
Welcome to your house. Where you going? House arrest. Okay. Okay. See you later. Wait.
Did you get your money?
Oh, yes. What's that?
On your camcorder and show it at the church?
Well, I don't know what we're going to show, but I'm getting a lot of this. Got to ride through the woods.
Hi, welcome.
You missed the
Van
woods.
Wezel.
Somebody take us to the woods?
Jim took us through the woods. It was-
We'll make sure you get.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. He turned us around several times. I don't think I could ever get you anywhere. I'm kidding. Oh, we having a chit chat
Oop,
first.
hold on.
Another one?
Did you explain to Betty not there yet, honey?
I didn't do anything yet, honey. I was waiting for you to take care of everything. Everybody have a place? Thank you.
That would have been a team in itself.
Oh, sorry. Some people are considering team.
Oh no, you're taking me. Oh, yikes. I came last summer for 2.5 months. Before I came to work on the computer programs, one of my very good friends named Andy Wolf at Taylor came. Esther Croker, okay, it's a big long story. This mission was more or less started by a man named Abraham Croker. And his son, Clement, or you might know him as Bud Croker, carried on the work with his wife Charlotte and a bunch of their children. They have like 8 children. It's hard to keep track of them all, but the youngest one, Esther, went to Taylor University with me. I just graduated this last year. And Esther works now in the shop. You've probably met her, a real pretty girl with long brown hair. Knew Esther there. Esther's father contacted the computer science department. I was a computer science major, and so was Andy. and said that they really had a need for like a customer order entry system, a database to keep track of all the customers, all the orders, what customers have been sent their orders, what things are still waiting to be sent, the stock in the inventory, all of that. Because they were working with a computer system that was about 15 years old, I think. The computer company is called Data General. Some of you who are up on computers may have heard of them. They're not very popular anymore. But they had this big behemoth of a computer. I mean, it's, you know, about as big as that couch is, groaning along with the tapes rolling and everything. Every time it would hit 30 degrees centigrade, the thing would shut off, and they would just pray that it would start again. So basically the situation was just completely intolerable. The computer system was falling apart and they needed a new solution quickly. So my friend Andy came, not last summer but the summer before. But it was a huge job and he did as much as he could on it. He was here for 3 months and he just didn't get it finished, didn't get it working, still had to use the old computer programs. So then the next summer, I had, for the previous summers, been really blessed with a good summer internship that paid very well, so I was able to help with my education and had some money left over, and decided that because I had spent summers, you know, making money, I could afford to take the time off to work and give my time to something that I felt was worthwhile. And I had been so moved and had learned so much by reading Christian literature that when I heard about Biblical Literature Fellowship and what my friend Andy had done and how they had such a great need and what BLF was all about, printing and translating literature, sending it to countries in Africa and Albania and all over the place where people can't get the very literature that helped me to become a Christian and to grow as a Christian. I decided that this was something I really wanted to do. Sent out my support letters. Most of my support came in after it really should have. That was a little bit scary for those of you who have never had to raise support before. It really requires faith. And it was a difficult thing to do. I don't have that many Christian friends or anything. I ended up sending letters to professors who make less money than my father, and I was like, oh no. But people really found a way to give and gave some of my own money and was able to come over. I got here and I had to learn all about databases and FoxPro. Basically, I had to jump into what someone else had started and try to understand what they were thinking when they were working. When they had come, they didn't really, they knew a bit about computers, of course, being a computer science major, but didn't know anything about the particular order entry system or anything. So the guy made a lot of mistakes and fixed some of them, but not all. And so I was coming into something that was kind of a mess. And I got here and thought, oh my goodness, Lord, what on earth am I doing here? There is no way that this is going to be finished and usable by 2.5 months. All I had was 2.5 months. Normally you have like a year at least to do something like this. So I worked and spent some long days and prayed and cried. It was a frustrating experience. But when I sent out support letters, I sent a lot of letters to people who couldn't support me financially, but to people who could just pray for me. And I think that it must have kicked in right about that last month, because in the last month, things really started coming together. Before that, I'd just been terrified that their big, huge Data General computer was going to die a horrible death and I was going to leave and they were going to be sunk. But by the time I left, I was literally working up until 2 of my friends said, Daria, get in the car, you need to go to the airport right now. Wait, let me finish this one little thing. Wait, let me test this one thing. Okay. So I came back to the States and I got an email from Bud or Clement, the guy who was the director of the mission then, saying, oh, this doesn't work. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh, you didn't finish this and we need it so badly. And I was like, oh my goodness, what can I do? I'm 1,000-some miles away. There's no way I can fix this here. And I just prayed about it and prayed about it. I got an email like 4 days later saying, Daria, I don't know what happened, but Ann and Nadine, those are two of the girls who enter most of the orders and stuff, found a way to enter things, and you know, we're moving along somehow. I hope it still keeps working. I was like, oh my goodness. Thank you, God. It was really amazing. And then this summer again, because they still had a lot of things that needed to be finished, because I've found a job, I'll start my job when I go back to the U.S. in August 25th, I think. I decided that I could come again because I knew they had a need still. And it's much better if the same person works on a program, because otherwise you have to learn what someone else is thinking. It's very difficult. So I was very fortunate because there was even some money left over from last time, which just about it paid for my plane ticket and a little bit more. And the rest of the money I was able to give because I'll have a job. And here I am, and here in the first week, I have to say that I really dreaded coming in a way because the work itself is just not much fun. It's, you know, you try something, it doesn't work. You try it again, it doesn't work. Last summer I was ripping my hair out. It was very frustrating, but this first week everything has gone very, very well. And of course, I've benefited from this as well as ELB, or Biblical Literature Fellowship, has too, because I've made Christian friends, and the Christianity here is just almost like a different brand from that in the United States. The church here is very different, tends to be much poorer, much smaller. Christianity is not as widespread at all. People have just a whole different set of struggles here than they do in the United States. So I've learned a huge amount. My faith has been challenged in ways that it wouldn't have been challenged in the United States. And this has really been a blessing to me too.
Petit, beau, little pretty bus. Bow, isn't bow? It's a bow. Bow room. Bow. Isn't a bow a what if we get arrested? But when we went to the Bahamas on that cruise, the day that you could get off, and we just went back in the town. And there they're building onto it. That looks kind of Grecian. Look how it's
and he's earlier.
Oh, don't move. I took a bad picture.
I'm too close to it.
You guys need to start taking pictures.
I'm going to
It's
too in a
Tall's
minute.
job.
Smile,
There's a
Lydia.
concept of systematic.
Hey, can you get a picture of mine? What?
I'm going to have to pull you up.
He's gonna leave for Europe at the end of June. His work visa in the United States runs out, so he's gonna come to Europe for 2 weeks. And we're gonna go to Venezuela together for 3 weeks, and then he's gonna start in college again.
And then again, if you have the road sign, remain on the bridge.
They know who the
Canal boat right down here.
This one is 8 steps.
So I pull out 1,000 and count it down on the. How precious.
Nou, 350 Europa.
350. Freaks. I had a big breakfast.
So we set up there.
I was about ready to stick my hand up when you stuck yours. Somebody was down there. He could do it.
See, this is the kind of trip I like to go on a business trip. Take just these little excursions to see the neat little that overpass is. Go straight down there about halfway on the right. Not very far. Since 3. 4. We're at the 4 now. We're at the 5.
This high. Upstairs is a carrion of 47 bells with a total weight of 27 tons, and to get upstairs you have to climb only 366 steps. So wir beginnen unsere Tour bei einer halben Stunde mit das Belfred. Das Belfred ist ein Turm von 83 Meter hoch. Üben ist ein Glockenspiel von 47 Glocken, und um nach oben zu gehen, mussten sie nur 366 Stufen betreten. Daarnaast voor ons hebben we de twee oudste bruggen van onze stad. De eerste is de Meebrug uit de 14e eeuw, de tweede de Paardenbrug uit de 17e eeuw. In front of us we have the two oldest bridges of our city. The first one is the May Bridge from the 14th century. The second one, the Horse Bridge from the 17th century. Hier voor ons hebben we die twee älteste bruggen van de stad. De eerste is die Meebrugge van in 14 jahrhundert. Die tweede die Pferdebrugge van in 17 jahrhundert. Beide Seiten des Kanals können Sie ja die Hasen sehen mit Treppengiebeln. Das sind typisch flämische Stäbe im 17. Jahrhundert. Was a burger's lodge, and the burger's lodge was a place where rich merchants or rich businessmen came together to discuss their business. And the statue is just in front of it is from the famous painter Jan van Eyck. You can see his works in the cathedral in Ginn. So das Gebäude mit dem Tony Pons ist keine Kirche, es war ein Bürgersloge. Und ein Bürgersloge war ein Platz, wo Kaufleute zusammenkamen, um zu diskutieren. Und der Statue ist... En het huis in Klein, aan de linkerzijde met de rode poort, is het huis van een architect. Het is een prachtig voorbeeld van een restauratiehuis. Je kunt ook het teken van architect zien boven aan de gevel. At your left hand side with the red door is the house of an architect, and it's a very good example of historians. You can also see the sign of the architect above the gable. Aan de linkerzijde met de rondtür is das Haus von einem Architekt. Das ist ein schönes Beispiel, aber ein renoviertes Haus. Und das Zeichen von Architekt können Sie auch da oben an die Fassade sehen. Aber wel andere mensen zijn niet graag zien over. People are liking it, dat is not. Ik denk Leute, die das gerne sehen. En het huis een klein eindje verder, die je zult zien aan de linkerzijde, ook met de rode deur, is het hutshuis, de Pelikaan. Het dateert van 1634 en het was ook de eerste kantschool in Brugge, dus kantwerkschool. The house a little bit further at your left hand side also with the red door, it's the Alm House, the Pelican. It's from 1634 and it was also the first lay school here in Brugge. Das Haus hier am linken Seite auch mit der Rundtür ist das Stifthaus, der Pelikan. Das ist von 1634 und das war auch die erste Spitzenschule hier in Brugge. Kantwerkschool. En een klein eindje verder hier aan de linkerzijde heb je de Westmarkt uit de 19e eeuw en gebouwd in Empire-stijl. At your left hand side you have the fish market from the 19th century and built in Empire style. Aan de linkerzijde heb je een fishmarkt van in 19e jahrhundert omgebouwd in Empire-stijl. die brug hier aan de rechterkant heb je ook een prachtige sector, die toren van de Onze Vrouwkerk. Just passing the bridge at your right hand side, you have also a very nice view on that tower of Our Lady Church. Hier aan de rechterzijde auch een zeer schönen Blick auf den Turm der Onze Lieve Vrouwkirche. Het is dus ook het hoogste gebouw in Europa helemaal gebouwd in baksteen. It's also the highest building in Europe, all made in bricks, all built in bricks. Het is dan het hoogste gebouw in Europa gebouwd in bakstenen. En alle geiten die je links ziet, zijn dus allemaal private woningen. Toutes les maisons que vous pouvez voir ici à votre gauche sont tous des maisons privées. Ik ben wel verkeerd. Ik ben in Frans bezig, ik heb geen Frans. All the houses in the, as you can see at the left hand side are all private houses. So alle woningen hier aan de linkerzijde zijn ook alle privaat. En dus allemaal notarissen, dokters, mensen die met de bootjes varen, die nu wonen. Dat is niet waar, dat is niet waar. Dat is niet waar. En het gebouw juist voorbij de brug aan de rechterkant is het Oud Sint-Jans Hospitaal uit de 12e eeuw. Het is het oudste hospitaal van Europa. En nu is het een museum van de bekende schilder Hans Memling. Just passing that bridge here at your right hand side, you have the old St. John's Hospital of the 12th century. It's the oldest hospital in Europe, and now it's a museum from the painter Hans Memling. Voorbij die brug hier aan de rechterzijde, dat is het älteste Johannesspital van het 12e jahrhundert. Es ist das älteste Krankenhaus in Europa und heute ist es ein Museum von einem bekannten Maler Hans Memling. Dit weekend is er dus ook een expositie van Salvatore Dali. So, from this weekend on, there is also an exposition over here of Salvatore Dali. Wir haben hier auch von diesen Wochenenden eine Ausstellung von Salvatore Dali. En dit is de laagste brug dus liever niet op te staan alsjeblieft. Dat is de lowest bridge over here, so don't stand up please. Das ist die niedrigste Brücke, so nicht aufstehen bitte.
That's your bill, go ahead. Hi, good. Oh, look at this, it's beautiful. It's a flood and all the beauty still.
Dit is dus de ingang van het Begijnhof uit 1245. At bridge at your right hand side you have the entrance of the beginners from 1245. En rechterzijde naar de Beginhof van 1245.
The first baked first two dozen.
Look at the orchids and the lilies. Wow. Huh? Nasturtium.
En hier hebben we de Bonifatiusbrug uit 1910 en in de muur aan de linkerzijde kunt u het kleinste venstertje zien in de gotische stijl van onze stad. Het diende als spionvenstertje. So here we have the Bonifacius Bridge from 1910 and to the wall to the left hand side you can see the smallest window in Gothic style of our city. It was a little spy window. So hier haben wir die Bonifatiusbrücke von 1910 und in die Mauer am linken Seite können Sie das kleinste Fenster sehen in gotischer Stil und unterstadt. Es war ein Spionfenster. And near the gable you can see 722 little windows in pink crystal from Venice, from Murano. Am rechten zijde hoort u de Tuileries. Het zijn van die toiletstores in onze stad. Want in die gable kunnen ze 782 kleine vensters in roze kristal van Murano zien, een stad bij Venedig. Het zijn best de roze van die goed kopen. Ze hebben pink shiny verrekking voor u. Ze hebben dus een roze schijn als goed kijken. Het is dus ook dezelfde eigenaar, hier links Orangerie en Tuileries. Es ist auch selbst ein eigener hier. Am linken Seite Orangerie und Tuileries. Wel, ziezo, dames en heren, we zijn gekomen aan het einde van onze rondvaart. Ik hoop dat het u bevallen heeft en wenst u verder nog een zeer aangename namiddag in Brugge toe. En misschien een klein...
Look at the mandolin and the violin. Hurry up, let's not spend a lot of time doing that.
Well, that's what we do, you know,
Yeah.
things. I really like what
All that musical stuff. But I don't know what you would do with it.
Dat kwam te ver vooruit. Maar dat is het ideaal geweest. Zo'n klein kat als een schoentje toch nog.
it all depends which range.
Så du måste berätta.
Just quick lunch in and out. Just on the other side of the spectrum. So the expensive large choice.
Det er mye pent, da. Ja, jeg må si det. Nei, ikke min heller. Jeg tror ikke kona mi liker sånn. Det er litt min stil. Det er litt min stil. Billig. Ja, billig. Ja, det er noen som har filmet en dame her. Hun må vel ha noe penger. Gi en flaske øl eller sånn.
Så her er det noen små broderte bokstaver på.
Wooden chest with iron mounting, wrought iron door, and railing.
$12.90.
Chest is from the 17th century. The railing is from the 13th century.
$12.90 to $92.
Apostle sandstone, 14th century. Iron fire trunk, 19th century. This is a wrought iron door and railing, $12.90 to $92.
Come on down this side.
Oh, look, that's the
Coming up.
It's coming up, yeah. Oh, this one down there. We're at 331. I don't think this is just here.
Oh, so we're getting closer to the top.
This is the clock, right?
This is the mechanism that operates. Yeah. For real.
I hear it clicking. I wonder what this is here. Just another. Oh, it's another hand movement.
Going up.
These are different hand movements for the same. Oh, and this ticks off the music.
The music now.
Or at least there's a shaft of some sort. Security cameras all over the place. Keep showing different the knocker over to the side.
Yeah.
Look at the knocker on this one here. It's a stone thing
Yeah.
with a cable pulling.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. The bell here, this is the knocker here on the outside.
Hey, Martin. It's on the next level down.
Oh, yes, let's go.
I've got pictures of the bell.
Good for you.
No, just halfway in between. Just right under.
Wow. Let's give me a spell. We have to
You're welcome. Go, Jason.
Not good.
Yeah, the rubber, they're over there.
Ken, why don't you go down in front of her? You go down in front of her. Hey, Brendan, Ken should go down in front of you so if you fall over the back.
London's 2:30, so.
There's a river that comes in, part
Right.
of the river, so it must be
Right
one of
there?
those flat areas, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, okay, there. Yeah, okay, there you see, yeah, that's it.
Now, where is it that you saw the windmill?
Up in, no, between Antwerp and Amsterdam. In the Netherlands. It was part of a series of about 19 in that particular local area. And they use it to control the flood level, the water level of the land to prevent flooding right in that immediate area. And I guess all of them are used in that way. Too much water, but they dump it out into the river, so it goes out into the ocean. So. Yeah, you can't see all the way out to the North Sea, but it's out there somewhere. Apparently, some of those ocean-going vessels come up this far. I know Antwerp is a seaport, and it's well inland.
Now, which way is it?
North.
That way?
North. Yeah, that way.
What? Good crap. Amazing.
Great. That is really tapestry keychains here.
Okay.
His most famous one is here.
The painter I know.
Good. Say, Ben. Good, Peyton? It's good?
Yeah, I think that underneath well done
thy
is the
good and
translation
faithful
of
servant.
that.
Yeah. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. That's exactly it.
Can you believe he's been dead that long?
1989.
I mean, that's 8 years.
That big one there. Oh, that's. What are these, babies or something?
They must be ashes. It looks like a peach tree. could have taken some pebbles off of the foot of his grave and taken them home.
For a woman that shoots french fries, you're win the talk.
Do the sugar bread too.
He's videoing the raisins and the bread now.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey, this is something Neil can relate to.
Now we gotta
He
look
likes
at
bread.
Cheerios.
How about the orange?
Sugar smacks.
Some people like to take the boxes. Hold up the orange nectar.
Corn flakes. A little closer. Yeah.
Or nectar.
Turn this around. Start it
Okay.
again.
What?
All right.
Some more subject matter.
No.
Okay.
This is some good structure.
The castle.
This is the French side.
Again, it was delicious.
Sure was.
Okay.
I slept quite well, thank you. My muscles are sore. What did I do yesterday to make my muscles?
You walked a lot.
I didn't do any big walking.
Delved into your wallet too much.
You climbed that stairs down.
I always climb
Yeah,
all the time,
yeah.
steps at home all the time. You know, I get up and down my steps all the time. Okay, you ready for your snapshot?
This is band using the camcorder.
Even the Japanese don't
We'll
take
see
this
how
many
wide
pictures.
it is.
They don't take what?
This many pictures.
Oh. I'm trying to use up the rest of this film because it's at the end of the roll.
Another one.
Took it, didn't you, Jim?
Who was it? Was it Mike Coburn that got one of those?
Imitation one.
Yeah,
they-
magnetic ones and wore it around and nobody said anything.
I think I remember seeing.
Drinking water today, yes. The restaurant, it's all as expensive as a Coke or something.
Oh, you pay for water in a restaurant?
Yes.
You mean in a restaurant you can take out your water bottle and drink?
Charge card problem. Whatever became of that?
Nothing. What it was is, I figured it out later.